welcome. How is everyone doing today? I hope we're all excited. I'm feeling great. We got some music here going in the background. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to the first, or the actually second episode in the mini series of Instagram Lives entitled Changing Channels. So I'm your host, Caitlin Leggett. I am an administrative intern at WUNC Radio, but this summer I will be acting as a mentor with the WUNC Youth Voices. I've co-written several stories and produced several stories as well with WUNC, but I started out with WUNC Youth Voices, producing my own story in 2020, that summer, about how artists in Durham were dealing with the pandemic as well as with the Black Lives Matter movement, and how they took their own voice and found their own way of finding peace. And this summer, I will be flipping the script and helping other students as we have the new applications that have just dropped on WUNC. So go check those out. So yes, shout out to WUNC Youth Reporting Institute. So today we have the infamous Jose Diaz, who will be joining us. We're going to go ahead and add him in. Hello, hello,
Hey,
hello.
how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Okay, so let me go ahead back into my riveting introduction. So, Jose Diaz is an Afro-Latino musician born and raised in the Bull City, Durham, North Carolina, with his single Score dropping this Friday on the 7th. He is a man of many talents, from graphic design to singing to songwriting to even being the brand owner of his line Leader. So, I just want to thank you for joining us here today. And we can go ahead and get started. It's going to be a lot of interview style questions, but I really want you to be comfortable and answer, however you feel need to.
Okay.
So let's start off with the track that's dropping tomorrow. Tell us a little bit about it.
So it drops at midnight tonight. Um, it's a song that I've kind of been sitting on for a little while, bits and pieces of it at least. I kind of had the concept that I didn't want Score to be my single. So oftentimes I write a lot of music for a lot of artists. Um, so this was one of the things that I kind of tucked to myself and kind of kept to myself, see how it would work. So I'm pretty to drop it and let everybody hear it. I think the production of it all sounds great. I worked with some amazing people to get it completed. Raleighwood Studios in Raleigh, um, and the engineer Major Green, who was able to really pull the vision together with the mix and everything together. So I think it really came. I'm really excited for it.
So I see we have some people in the comments who are excited as well. You're getting a lot
Yeah,
of love. So I want to remind everybody, if you have questions, please jump in there and throw those in the chat. But getting back into the production that you were talking about, I get this single is probably your baby.
yeah.
So what is that production process like? The songwriting, the lyrics, the beats, like how does that all come together?
So it really depends. A lot of times how I do it is I'll receive a beat from somebody, from a producer, and they'll say, yo, like, see what you can write to this. Most of the times, then I've written so many songs throughout the years, I can get a beat and then just apply the lyrics that I've already written to a beat and try to make it work like that. This one, I got the beat and the concept was out of nowhere. I didn't have um, any previous anything except for one slight piece of a song that I ripped from another song that I had.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, it was pretty organic and songwriting process for me. I've been doing that before I even thought about really pursuing being an artist. So that process for me that's my baby for real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I can definitely see that. Being a poet myself, I know sometimes when words come to you, it might be 3 a.m. and you have to go ahead and write that down before you
you know
lose
it.
it.
You know it for real. Or go ahead and hop on your phone and hum that melody,
Hmm.
like for real.
That's definitely understandable. So, getting into some of your influence and what inspires your music. I know you talked about self-expression being really the driver behind your music. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Um, I feel like I don't know. Being a black man in this world, it's not oftentimes that you can show much vulnerability.
Hmm.
Um, so I feel like, especially in music, that's the time when you're supposed to um tell your truth. I think that those are the records that we stick with the most. You know what I mean? The things that we can relate to. So whenever you have a relatable topic like Score with just simple breakups or just coming to the understanding of like what your boundary is in life or who you are as a person. Um, those moments are important. Like those are the pieces of the puzzle that everybody needs in order to make it through. And everybody's just going through life looking for some type of guidance. Things like that. We messages in songs nowadays.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's definitely understandable. I saw you in your post talking about how, even though this is a breakup song, you did not go through a breakup. This is
Right.
about breaking up with certain things, certain aspects of yourself. And I definitely related to that. So, thinking on that, I'm assuming most of these moments, or a lot of these moments, maybe happened in Durham. So, what was it like being raised and living in Durham?
Being raised and living in Durham all my life has been impeccable. I was able to see it really turn into something really dope now. It's more artsy and open and more diverse now.
Mm.
Did have a past for sure. It's always been excellent though throughout both. I feel like sections of Durham. We have Durham and then we have DU. What is it? DURH now or
Yeah, DURM?
Oh yeah. So
Durham.
we have two separate Durhams for sure, but they're working together cohesively to build a big empire. I'm excited for what Durham is about to do. But I've been here for all my life.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's been an amazing ride.
So we ride for the Bull City
You all right?
forever. So again, thinking about Durham, the music scene. So I know names like the Diaz, my girl Dottie.
Yeah.
So I know she came on last year with WNC to talk about her EP, Love Again, which has heavy gospel influence. And I know you two are collaborators. So I've heard some of those same riffs in some of your music. So how has gospel influenced your sound as well?
Gospel is my sound. I don't know anything else to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that all I've known all my life is church. Beyond that, it's once I got to college, I kind of experienced life a little bit further than that, but my basis is in church for sure. So all those runs, all those 3-part harmonies in the background and all that stuff, that's heavily influenced by church for sure.
And I love that. I love that that's something you can always hear. You can tell in someone singing when they have started out in the church. And you hear that in their voice that just, woo, you get
Yeah,
something different.
right. And you can tell when somebody doesn't have it, like,
Mm-hmm.
or when they're trying
Mm-hmm.
to do it. Like it's a feel. If it's natural, you feel it.
Right, right, right. So, getting into your background a little more, you're Afro-Latino, and that oftentimes can be left out of the larger banner of Latinx, sort of left in between two groups that are marginalized differently and pitted against each other under white supremacy. But Afro-Latinos also have a unique perspective on colonialism and imperialism. So, the experience of immigration and enslavement should never be lumped together, but they coexist in many Afro-Latinos' history. It's intersectionality. It's the idea that you exist in both spaces and you're marginalized by both spaces. So, can you talk
Right.
about that a little bit?
Um, that's been a dope experience for me throughout life. I tell the story all the time about how when I was in middle school, you know how they do the I had a substitute come in and say, "Hey, who's Jose Diaz?" And I'm sitting there like, right
That's
here.
me.
Yeah, that's me. And I'm not gonna change my answer. She's looking around for all the other, stereotypical what the look of that would be for her. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm gonna give it to you how I give it to you because I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been dope. I haven't fully embraced uh the Puerto Rican side of me as much to really get the language down pat. The energy I have.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, I don't have the language as of yet. But that's something I plan on getting. Before I hit 30, I will be fluent. But
And do you find that in Durham a lot? Because I find myself kind of, especially before going off to college, I really didn't know any other thing other than black, white, and maybe Hispanic. And that was
yeah,
a broad umbrella term for me. But going off to
right.
college, you meet everyone. It's this melting pot of culture. So do you find that in Durham as well?
I do find that in Durham now.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we have a lot of diversity now because of all the different um like the technology spaces and everything that's blowing up in the area, bringing more people in. But when I was coming up, it was very much so white, black, Mexican, and
Mm-hmm.
that's all we had, to be honest, and that's what everybody lumped themselves in, and that's what the community really we didn't have the consciousness at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
things have changed. We've elevated.
I can definitely see that. So I know, like you mentioned, gospel as your influence, but would you also say that Afro Latinx side of you would be an influence to your music as well?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I find myself I'll end up writing something that I feel like is gospel, and as soon as I upload it, I have a cousin named Tasha. As soon as I send it to her, she'll say, "Okay, here we go with this reggae beat again," and I'm like, I didn't even try, but I feel you if you recognize it. I see how you can get it's the rhythm of it all for real.
Hmm.
So I mean, it all coincides: gospel, reggae, Latinx music, all of that vibe, that feel, that's all it's
And
all the same.
do you find that being in Durham, the music scene, do you find that that pushes you as well? Because I know so many singers and artists and musicians alike that just kind of, it's like, wow, y'all are so talented. And there's such a large variety of what everyone does. Like, do you see that as well?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's hard. People that are creatives are just creative, so it's really hard for us to get boxed into a certain lane. Um, so you find a lot of us that are just multifaceted at doing whatever, just because we have entrepreneurial type spirits. So we'll get in there and flip a show into a festival or
Mm-hmm.
anything, a t-shirt line into merch for a song or anything. It'll happen quick and it lines up just like that. It does.
Okay, so getting into that not being boxed in, you have a clothing line. Can you tell us a little about that?
I do. So, Line Leader is a clothing line that I launched last year. We dropped our first collection at the top of this year. All white collection is pretty dope. I think it's really dope. If you have a chance, just click the link in my bio and you can purchase everything, and it'll get to you in about 2 weeks. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Collection was really, like you said, most of the times you can't keep creators boxed in. It was really a idea I had on a whim, that really I stuck with it and sat with it for maybe about 2 weeks to deliberate on how I could do it, and did a lot of research, did a lot of Googling, did a lot of YouTube, so I
Mm-hmm.
could figure out the best way to do it and not break my bank, and how to just make profit and actually, get out there and do some different things. Like I feel like people are so boxed in now that they feel that like somebody has to tell you that you're worthy in order to do something. So why can't you be a designer? Why can't you be an
Mm-hmm.
artist? Be whatever you want to, and that at the drop of a dime, I'm worthy of doing it. So I felt like Line Leader would be the perfect thing to drop, to give inspiration to people that yes, you could more than one thing and be good at it, and drop.
Mm-hmm. And you are doing an amazing job at that. I see. I was looking at some of your Instagram posts, and it seems like graphic design is one of your lanes as well. Can you tell us some about that?
So, graphic design, really something I just stumbled into. It's nothing that I'm looking for. It. Listen, if I'm being totally honest with you, YouTube, Google,
Best friends.
best friends, and you can download any app that'll do it. Just it's really
Mm-hmm.
about. A lot of people feel like a lot of things are hard. It's really about just doing it. That's
Mm.
it. That's it. Because if you don't, I mean, it'll always be hard if you never make that next step. You
Mm-hmm.
got to do it. Like that's it. I have no technical background in anything of that nature. I literally just made it pop.
Definitely understand and see that. Thinking about tech, so Durham is growing. We are booming now, even
Yeah.
to the um app or to the facility that's going to be built soon. We're just thriving in every aspect of the word. So, what about how that's affecting artists? I know technology and production can go hand in hand. So, how do you see that affecting things like the cost of living in Durham and just being able to get by as an artist?
That is so. How do I say this? The tech world coming into the area has definitely been great. It's bringing an influx of people into the area and bringing a lot of diversity and a lot of different things that a lot of people in Durham are not used to. So it's making the area for sure a better place to be, and it's making us stand out because we're very very aggressive in comparison to a lot of places in North Carolina, as well as just period in the states. We're one of the most artsiest towns you could come to, and one of the most eatenest, if I can say that.
Mm-hmm. You see it everywhere, every corner.
Can't leave here and not tear down some food and not enjoy yourself genuinely if you come. But the tech world coming to the area, it's provided a lot of jobs. The area is popping right now because the poverty level is going down slightly. If we're being totally honest, if as well as I think it's what is it, Google that just is? Oh no,
I
Apple.
I don't want to say it wrong. Let me check with my producer.
Right.
But it's
Oh
one
no,
of those big names that's coming in.
3,000 jobs I just saw that's about to pop. So although we're talking about like progressive now, what we haven't even seen yet is about to be crazy.
So both Google and Apple will be moving
Okay.
to the area. But that's definitely a way that we've seen Durham grow. But I think it also has a heavy aspect to it where you see, I know just looking at East Durham is my heart, and looking at the streets and at the houses, you'll see an architectural, maybe like amazing looking
Hmm?
structure of a house, and then next to it you have a rundown,
Yeah.
house that's probably been there for over 20 years
Yeah.
that's falling apart. So it can definitely have its positives, but it can definitely have its ramifications as well.
And I also,
Um,
just because you stated that, I want to make sure that we hold ourselves accountable when it
mhm,
type of stuff because we drive past those same houses every day. What's made you not get out your car and go pick up that paint and go?
right.
It's the energy that we have to stop waiting for somebody to come to us and do it. We have to stop waiting for somebody to tell us that we're valid. We're the person. You know what I mean. Stop
Mm,
waiting for validation for somebody else to tell you what to do. You could easily. You could have just ran across a couple friends and painted that house if you wanted to. Now,
mhm.
necessary that hopefully I gave you. I don't want you to go paint a house, but figure something.
So it's definitely, you see it as a balancing act. So there's some give and take.
I think it's give and take just because I mean we're human, so we're not always gonna make the right choices. We're not always gonna do the right thing, but it's definitely give and take.
And I think that's a great way to describe it, honestly.
Yeah.
But getting back into your music a little bit. So, along with lots of other artists, you've been trying to maintain some elements of, live music through remote performances. like many other artists. So were there lessons that you learned from that experience that you're carrying forward into your post-COVID career? Because hopefully, these times won't last.
No, for real. I missed the stage for sure. I mean, before this, I was really more so just doing background. So I really haven't dove into artistry without pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So, being on stage just doing background is my heart for sure. That's always been my my go-to when it comes to music. You can always tell that I put my time into what I'm doing background vocally. But I think I'm so excited for whatever the world presents after this pandemic for live music. We need it. We love it. It's genuine music without all the production and stuff like that. It's what's natural, and I think we got to get back to it.
And that's definitely one of my favorite things. I love live music. I will literally I'll listen to original albums, but if there's a live album, that's the one I have
Yeah,
downloaded.
yeah,
And that
yeah.
definitely comes from like growing up in the church and hearing live music all the
Right,
time.
right.
So it's definitely a beautiful thing. So right now I want to check the chat. If anyone has questions, go ahead and drop those in there. I think I saw a couple. I believe one asked where in Durham you were from.
Where in Durham I'm from?
Mm-hmm.
I'm from. To be honest, I grew up on Ash Street in East Durham.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to North Durham, like Dearborn area. So I went to Northern for high school.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Moorhead Montessori, Tuning, Shepherd.
Northern.
Yeah,
And
Northern.
I was looking at your followers and I was like, we have a lot of mutual followers. I feel like there's definitely some overlap here. My
Oh,
best friend, she went to Northern. Brittany Williams. Yeah. There's
okay.
definitely Durham is
All right. Yeah, we
Durham's a
know
small
Durham.
little world.
You can't go far.
Shout
Yeah,
out to Northern.
come on. That's home for real. That's where everything started.
Definitely. Let's see. We'll give just a few more for any questions. But I want to thank you again for hopping on here with us. I think this has been a great conversation, and I think this was really enlightening for me as well as I hope for everyone else.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for inviting me to come on.
Of course, of course. So I want to give you just a chance to plug and promote yourself, your music, your line, anything else, and, leave the people with what you think they want to hear.
Okay. Hey everybody. You can go ahead and follow me on Instagram at underscore Jose Diaz 101. That's where I'll be updating you guys on what my next venture, what my next is. Score drops tonight at 12. Definitely go ahead and lock in on that ASAP. Uh, it's definitely necessary. It's a breakup song, but it's not really a breakup song. You don't necessarily got to break up with somebody in order to enjoy it. You can break up with, your pride. You can break up with whatever the issue may be. But go ahead and just, enjoy the song, vibe with it, feel it, and let it take you to a different place. And lock in with me so you'll see when I drop something next. So,
And I just want to thank you again for hopping on here with us. This
sure.
was amazing. So, last thoughts. If anyone else sees anything that they liked on here, that they liked, that they heard, we're doing these interviews to promote the WUNC Youth Reporting Institute applications that just dropped online. So you can find those in our bio. Okay. We breed some amazing things. And as well as that, reach out to us if you think you have someone else that I should interview. We're meeting amazing people like this, so we want to continue to do that. So again, thank you so much for joining us, Jose.
No problem. And I'll definitely be shooting you some people too for it.
Love that. Love that. So you all have an amazing day, and thank you again.